You're still using paper? Paper is for memorizing and rereading, no matter what English towns try to sell you. And the Japanese solution is a far dream when people don't even know how to use a bidet. You need something new, modern, made to last. You need toilet metal. Topo Nerae, also known as Aim for the Top, or simply Gunbuster, is a 1988 series of 6 OVAs. I said OVAs. Yes, this series was the first work as a director for Hideaki Anno, apparently also being his debut in storyboard and script, 5 years after his beginning in a series that every human slightly aware of anime's existence knows, be it in its original version or in one of the first Power Rangifications done together with Voltron. However, for those who prefer Settlers instead of Anno,
na nossa civilização, que é basicamente fundada a partir do café, da banana e da bunda,
this anime doesn't fall into most of the problems seen in Evangelion. Personally, I like Evangelion, but not to the point of thinking it's a masterpiece like some people say. I like the reimagining of Judeo-Christian imagery in a more threatening way because it makes more sense than current interpretations, but I know it's an opera with the development of a telenovela. The ending is clear, but you can still have some fun if you get into Shinji's emo-ness. The title of the series would have been a combination of Eisyo Nerae, one of the best-selling mangas of all times with an anime that was also very popular, and Top Gun, which got the Japanese Academy's Prize for Best Foreign Production the same year. And, in a way, that may be the best description of the main character, Noriko Takaya. Her father was the armorant on the first ship to run into aliens and disappeared in the conflict, which got her the nickname Daughter of Defeat, and I must point out, Nori could be seen as the verb to embark in Japanese, making her name literally Child Who Embarks. They are subtly saying she was born to be a pilot, like Maverick. Maverick, however, is the guy who proves himself by his natural prowess, the avatar that can do it all or almost all. Noriko is a slightly different trope, the young woman whose potential no one recognizes, but who's gonna become the super hyper and save insert sphere of influence here. And between us, it's a trope done much better. Nothing against the trope of the fucking awesome person who is simply fucking awesome. But as much as I like the Chuck Norris list...
Chuck Norris?
It loses a lot when you find out he's afraid of gays.
Oh gosh, gays have infected the world!
Who cares? Godzilla is attacking the town! In the middle of a school, brightly done, in which teens learn to ride giant robots...
Are exceptionally well trained.
But a new fast-talking trainer arrives. Not that one. Actually, for whatever wrong key I pressed, the second episode started sped up, so for a while this is what I saw. No, I won't go back so you can see it slower, but I can tell you that for about 15 minutes my review of this anime was going to be this.
I'm Dee Dee, Dexter's older sister, who 2 years ago crashed up in the volcano mountain race and was never heard from again. Except I was heard from again, it's just that my dad likes to exaggerate and he got mad because I broke his car and he wouldn't let me race again. Except I had to race again, it was in my blood, so sometimes I stow away in my brother's truck so I can be close to the action, and sometimes I secretly race under the disguise of Racer D. But I should have told you that. I've got a monkey!
The coach magically recognizes Noriko's skills she doesn't even know she has. Brilliantly done. Chooses her to go with the school's top student. Brightly done. which makes a rival challenge her. In fact, I think you're overdoing it a little. And of course, she finally uses her instincts. Seriously, could you turn that down a tad? I can't see straight. Defeats the rival using an attack that would break my fingers if I tried to do it, and she automatically accepts her defeat and will have turned into a new version of the coach by the end of the anime. Yes, looking at it that way, Gunbuster can be hilarious in its tropes done the old-fashioned way, but that old-fashioned way is something I really appreciate, because it includes the wisdom of not using a trope forever and ever. The second episode is not in a school, but a space station, where they have class. However, they start using their machines instead of just having class. There's a new rival, but this one for the senpai, and it's already less Team Rocket and something more mature. Actually, that was not what I meant. I know, so far it seems about average. Boobs shaking for no reason, giant robots, conversations with sex content that wouldn't happen naturally. Yet, at least the 80s taste is better than most. As much as that fashion is an island, even though I still see random strips of material being called clothing, it is still an idea of fashion. I mean, the tops don't hide the bouncing boobs and the strips are useless, but all fashion has accessories and every accessory is useless. Besides, the design are not completely 80s, as this ship shows, direct descendant of that rocket on Tintin. More importantly, the development is very good. It may not seem at first, but this was all basis for what is to come. Only on the second half of the second episode, one of the actual themes of the anime is slightly shown. An unidentified object shows up close enough to be checked out, and, as the best of the class, they are sent, but the object is still too far to be reached in timely manner. So they are going to use rockets and travel at the speed of light, but will be effectively alone other than the coach who's going with them. And if the difference between Noriko and Maverick was evident, the psychological effect is perfectly shown in this scene. Yeah, her lost father could be stuck on that ship, and because it was traveling at light speed, just a few minutes would have passed for it, so she could literally have a chance to save him. Suddenly that trope is a bit more than a trope. They go back, she's still obviously upset and doesn't care about graduation. And this is the main topic in Gunbuster, but it takes a while until it weighs on the plot. They go to war, her senpai deciding she's not a good enough pilot still, Noriko finding a new partner and immediately falling in love and having to fight in her first battle. And under that uniform, he was wearing a red shirt. And his name is Smith, which is pronounced Misu in Japanese, which means disappearance in Portuguese, so the third episode ends with the disappearance of disappearance.
I love you.
And in no moment it seems that the OVA is going too slow, but at this point you could think Gunbuster must be because the aliens are called Gun. However, there is a Gunbuster. Think about it. How good must an anime be to go past half without the title robot, and that not be a problem? The fourth episode finally shows part of the anime's real topic, although it takes longer and for a good reason. No, we're not there yet. It's about the weight of war, in this case the weight of a real battle, the weight of not being good enough for that situation, the weight of losing a person and being responsible for that. But while she's dealing with all that and her mates are having fun with the chance of being back to Earth soon, the ship is taken by surprise, and on top of that, them flying at that distance at that direction would lead the enemy to Earth. Also, we are trash floating in the universe to them, apparently. Besides that, their ship is absurdly strong, and the only alternative that Captain sees is using their own ship to ram it and sacrifice the crew to save the Earth. When suddenly...
NANI?!
And damn, when this thing shows up, you can think the design isn't all that impressive, but just by its size, it has huge impact. That's why the rhythm works. It's made for impact. This battle would never have been so desperate without the Armada working perfectly well so far, and this would just be another giant robot without the average ones being successful this far. Episode 5 shows them back on Earth, where 10 years have passed, and her best friend has a family already. At the same time, there seems to be a plan to evacuate Earth, no one knowing when it would take place, but obviously not being enough for everyone, which makes Noriko's friend ask her to take her daughter with them. Before she can even process such an idea in her room in a dry version of a bath scene, less water, more rock and Yamato. We have an argument between Senpai and Coach, and apparently the Fantastic Four were luckier than him.
コーチの体は宇宙放射線病に侵されているのよ。あと半年持たないんじゃないか。
Yes, it's a Japanese telenovela even with... But are you really surprised? When I watch Manchete, the channel that started showing animes regularly in Brazil, and people ask me why I watch those episodes all the time, the comparison with soap operas was inevitable. Here, however, enters knowing how to use your tropes. Anime and tokusatsu always seem much more aware about their clichés, and it's much harder that they linger on them too long. Of course, there are exceptions. But Metalder made the most melancholic end to me, before the collective rape called VR Troopers, which also victimized 2 other series and the whole concept of virtual reality. Unfortunately, virtual reality was chained in a basement throughout the whole 90s. Here though, the real theme of the anime starts being shown. Senpai is in love with Coach. Kochi-senpai! But not only he's dying, a huge fleet of enemies is approaching, and building weapons against them is so complicated, only one Gunbuster has been completed. The only chance humanity has is attacking them while they're still far away, which means traveling at the speed of light and maybe losing the last few months Coach has. Kochi-senpai! And after a moment of despair from Senpai and Noriko making a speech about saving Coach and all of humanity, we see what a fully operational Gunbuster can do. End of the day, they go back to Earth, Senpai declares her love for Coach, and all live happily ever after till the next episode. The interesting thing is, the series may seem like Noriko's arc, and the other developments being in this episode, but indirectly showing her development. However, the series is actually about dedicating yourself completely to a career. I have to clarify, no more clarity, that the anime doesn't put this as a negative. The moments of sudden drama, humanity as a virus, the evacuation plan are all fast, believing a notion of such things happening naturally. Yet, using Noriko's father's ship, disappearances inspiration, and the captain's attitude make it obvious that there is a reason for all this, if Noriko's speech didn't make it blazingly obvious. But then you think, they couldn't possibly make something more awesome than that Gunbuster, right? And if someone ever says that steel frame tricks don't work, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Modern doesn't mean better. The modern movement is extremely complex, and I myself love the anthropophagic aspect in Brazilian modern art, but there are problematic branches. In the search of breaking with the old for something new, some search for extremes. Ezra Pound, one of the most recognized names associated with the movement, believed in fascism as a way to install social credit. Even here, after the Pau-Brasil Manifesto, there was Escola da Anta, literally tapir school, which complained you couldn't just be modern, you had to be tupi, with logic problems such as make without discussing and we accept all conservative institutions while we fight against the old verbal rhetoric and we don't accept new rhetoric submits to 3 or 4 rules of thought and feeling. We could create a new form of sonnet.
How dare you have a rule about how to write?
So you have a rule about not having rules? But isn't that a huge paradox? Doesn't that mean that you're just a hypocrite complaining about something you didn't like? Oh, and the Tapir School aligned with the National Integralist Action and its interests, which were basically the Brazilian Nazis, a group that loved National Socialism but was rejected for not being German. But, more important than all the contradictions there are in everything ever created by humanity, not only there is postmodernism, more skeptic than its predecessor fortunately, there is even post-postmodern, which I don't dare pretend to understand. Anything can be painted to look better than it is. Gunbuster works because it handles human issues. The interstellar trips literally forces Noriko to see people leaving her behind. Without softening the aspects of war, they are trying to destroy the center of the Milky Way. But after 15 years of dedication to build something bigger than the planet itself, humanity is, at least, admirable in its devotion. And this is the OSS. Noriko, once again, is willing to sacrifice herself to detonate the bomb. Senpai makes herself available to stay with her so they can go back, since you would only need one of the engines. Young wants to stay too, but Senpai says they don't need someone else to stay back. That's the point. All sacrifice necessary, but nothing besides the necessary. So Noriko and Senpai descend into the volcano to defeat the angel, Noriko has her last fan service moment and detonates the bomb, escaping and getting to Earth 15 years later.
Oh, sorry.
And they lived happily ever after in a planet where everybody they knew had already died. But at least they saved the Earth forever, right? But they mass-produced Gunbuster and they made the black hole bomb. Of course, there shouldn't be a problem to protect the Earth now, right? Aren't you going to finish this? Oh, sorry. Something new, modern, made to last. You need. Oh, I forgot the thingy. Oh, Benny. I like the reinterpretation of Judeo-Christian imagery. I like the reimagination of Judeo-Christian imagery. Not to the point of thinking it's a masterpiece like people say. Some people say. Not to the point of thinking it's a Of course, train. Imagery. The ending is clear, but you can still find it fun if you get into Shinji's emo. Lenny, it's clearly... The ending is clear, but you can get some fun out of it if you get into the ammo of Shinji. Shit. I like the reimagining of Judeo... Oh, god damn it! 5 fucking trains in a row. Actually, that was not what I meant. And if the difference between Noriko and Merrick... However, the series is actually about dedicating... God damn it! I'm about to finish, the damn train shows up.